simple manner, a cultural issue is a problem that usually happens because of the differences in beliefs, values, or practices between groups of people or the people in the community. First, we have culture versus individualism, which highlights the conflict between group norms and personal desires. The culture helps everyone understand their roles and how to behave, making it easier for groups to work together. However, these shared norms can conflict with individual preferences. For example, in many cultures, families expect children to follow specific career paths like medicine or engineering. A young person who wants to be an artist might feel pressured to choose a more traditional job, causing frustration. Next, we have culture versus logic, which refers to the contrast between the richness of human experiences and emotions and the straightforward reasoning of logic. The culture captures the richness of human life, including feelings, creativity, and social connections. These aspects can sometimes conflict with pure logic, which often focuses only on facts and risk. For example, in many cultures, people celebrate festivals with fireworks or parades. While these activities can be risky or costly, they bring joy and strengthen community bonds. Logic might suggest avoiding such risk, but the emotional connection to tradition makes these events important. From my personal experience with regards to culture versus individualism, when my best friend invited me to attend a Christian service instead of going to the Catholic Church, I felt a mix of excitement and fear. Walking into that lively church, I was welcomed by music and messages that spoke to my heart. It felt like I had finally found a place where I belong. But when I returned home, I knew my parents would be upset. They looked at me with disappointment. They had raised me with their values and I completely understood their concern. Although I felt their judgment weighing on me, I also felt a spark of courage. They used to say negative things about my faith, but I took that as inspiration to continue because I have faith in God and surrender everything to Him, hoping one day they will accept my decision. I knew I had to follow my own path. I appreciated everything my parents taught me, but I discovered a faith that resonated deeply within me. I hope that over time they would come to understand that my choice didn't change my love for them or their beliefs. It was a journey of faith for me, one that I was determined to embrace, even if it meant standing alone for a while. Most importantly, my goal isn't just for me to be saved, but also for them. I will do my best to bring them closer to God, and I'll keep praying that God will give me enough strength to do that. I know it won't be easy, but with God, nothing is impossible.
Culture versus systems. Culture is how people live and what they believe, while the systems are like rules and plans that help things run smoothly. Sometimes, these rules don't fit with how people live. For example, think about skateboarding. Some cities have rules against skateboarding in certain places. This is a system meant to keep things safe and organized. But for many people, skateboarding is a big part of their culture. They enjoyed it and it's important to them. So when the rules don't allow skateboarding, it can cause problems. People get upset and the rules don't really work. To make things better, we need to make sure the rules fit with how people live. We need to understand different cultures and be flexible. We can also talk to people and get their ideas on how to make things work better. For example, we could make special places for skateboarding where people can enjoy it safely. In short, we need to think about how culture and system work together. If we do this, we can make things better for everyone. Culture versus culture. Culture and culture tradition are in a dynamic relationship. The culture tradition providing stability and shared experiences across generations, while culture adapts to new pressures like technological change. For example, mobile devices. Mobile devices have shifted how people consume media, challenging traditions like watching TV together with our families. This interplay highlights the need for societies to balance the enduring values of tradition with the evolving nature of culture in the face of technological advancement. Okay, so this is what I've experienced of culture versus culture. So this whole culture versus culture thing is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. It is like my family has all these traditions, things we do together that have been passed down for generations. But then at school, everyone's doing their own thing, using their phones, and it is like nobody wants to watch TV together anymore. It's kind of like what I mentioned of culture versus culture about the stabilizing force of tradition and how it's being challenged, the adaptable nature of culture. My family's tradition are like a safe place, something familiar and comforting, but then there's this whole other world out there with new things happening all the time. And it's hard to know how to balance those two things. I guess the biggest thing I've learned is that it's important to respect both traditions and culture. My family's traditions are very important to me and I want to keep them alive. I want to keep the tradition alive. But at the same time, I also want to be part of the world around me and understand what's going on. The best thing is to talk to my family about it. Maybe we can find ways to keep our traditions alive while also adapting to new things. It is not easy, but I think it is very worth it.
Culture versus change. This issue refers to the tension between an organization's established culture and the need for change. Organizational culture often resists change as people become accustomed to existing norms, values, and practices. When change initiatives are introduced, they may clash with the ingrained culture elements, leading to resistance and potential failure of the change of efforts. Culture versus goals. This issue arises when an organization's culture is misaligned with its strategic goals or objectives. If the existing cultural norms, behaviors, and values don't support or actively hinder the achievement of organizational goals, it can create conflict and reduce effectiveness.
I have this experience for culture and goals. My family really wants me to be an engineer. They think it's a great job and will make me happy, but I'm more interested in studying medicine. I love learning about the human body and how it works. When I was applying to college, I was really excited to find schools with good medical programs, but my parents insisted I go to a school that's known for preparing students to become engineers. They signed me up for classes that would help me become an engineer even though I didn't want to. It is hard because I respect my parents and want to make them proud, but I also want to follow my own dreams. I'm trying to find a way to do both, but it is tough.
Culture versus reality. Members in a culture can create an overlapping positive or negative self-image that does not align with the reality, causing problems. For instance, excessive patriotism may blind a nation to its change, or a large firm culture of corporate narcissism may lead to a poor treatment customers, partners, and regulators. Over time, this disconnection can have negative consequences. The example of culture versus reality is when I have a birthday celebration or Christmas party, sometimes my ninongs or my ninangs are giving me gifts like cloth, things, or anything that they want to give to me. But today, the technology rapidly rises. They only just send me money through e-wallets like GCash, Paymaya, PayPal, or anything that has a easily to send your gift. Culture versus globalization. Globalization is the process of the world becoming more connected, which has accelerated with advanced transportation and communication. This can pressure local culture like global restaurant chain, competing with traditional eater. However, culture is resilient and competition can lead to a positive change, such as traditional restaurant improving their menus to stay competitive. Culture versus globalization. As we all know, globalization is adapting in technology. No, some fast food chain has a technology that capable of taking orders not by using human interference but in a technology like they are using big screen that where you can place your order just pressing any screen, any just pressing on the screen, and you can choose what food or what you want to order on that particular fast food chain. Here in Dumaguete, there are a lot of fast food chain. The fast food chain that I have experienced using the screen when you're taking orders are Jollibee and McDonald's. No, it's super convenient because you have the experience on the technology rising up. Culture versus communication. Culture, including language and norms, serve as a tools for communication. When people from different culture interact, they need cross-cultural communication skill. Despite language difference, effective communication is possible with patience, humility, and efforts. I have experienced when I attend a seminar, all the participant is foreigner, and I am the only one Filipino there. So what did I do? I speak in English because all I know, I have known that they can speak in English because they are from USA, Canada, Australia, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, and English is the second commonly used language in different countries. Like Philippines, it is the second language of the Philippines because English we use in politics, in education, and other type of sectors. So that is the experience in culture versus communication.